Hey everyone, Tony D with another version of the Civil War. Yes, I know I keep doing these, but people seem to like them, so I think they're fun. So I'm going to use my screenwriter skills to set forth a story of an alternate universe that may happen. Although I think there's like almost zero chance that this could happen, but who knows? So Civil War 2 part third version. Um, it occurred to me while I was watching the debate that Bernie Sanders could conceivably win this. I mean, I think it's a real long shot, but maybe if people drop out, enough people drop out, and it's really, Sticks and Hammer says it's really just Buttigieg, Klobuchar, and Bernie. So when you see like Biden drop out, or Warren, excuse me, Warren, not Klobuchar. So when you see Warren or Klobuchar drop out, the question is who gets her support, and Biden. I think most of it goes to Pete Buttigieg. But in this scenario, let's say Bernie is winning by so much, it goes to Bernie. Or enough of it goes to Bernie that he's still winning. And he goes to the convention with the most delegates. Maybe not enough to win, but enough that the Democratic Party has to go, okay, we absolutely cannot go back on this. And instead of doing what the Republicans did, change the rules, they decide, look, we're going to lose this one anyway. Let's let Bernie have it. Let's just shut this thing down. We won't spend any money. We'll let him lose, and it'll all be good. So, maybe someone with sense comes up with that scenario, right? So Bernie gets the nomination. And at first, the people on the extreme left, they're out of their minds. They're so happy. Trump's going to lose. We're going to win. And it's just this, exciting time for everybody on the left. And it's just so incredibly annoying on Twitter, right? So that goes on for a few weeks and people are campaigning. But almost immediately, the polls come out. And Trump just beats Sanders. He just keeps beating him again and again and again. There's a couple skewed polls that are in Bernie's favors, but most of it does not look good for Bernie. And most of these leftists, they concentrate all their time and energy in California and New York, which Bernie is usually ahead in, but in most of the other states, he's just not. He's not ahead in Ohio. He loses in Ohio. He loses in Pennsylvania. He loses in Florida. He loses all the big states. They don't even bother to look at the other states. But Trump has most of them too. And here's where it gets really mean. The media turn against Bernie because they realize two things. One, Trump's gonna win. Two, they don't really care about Bernie. And three, they can get more access to Trump that'll give them ratings. Bernie isn't really good for ratings, so they start ignoring him. That makes his supporters extremely angry because now they're getting ignored. Now they start calling a media blackout, and it gets bad. More protest, more anger towards the GOP, and some violence. A GOP polling station gets burned down, and maybe somebody gets, God forbid, shot. I'm just painting a picture. This is a fake story. I'm not endorsing any violence, just to be clear. So, it's almost just an extension of what's happening now, right? But every poll, he's losing. He can't win this thing, and they know it. And then the worst happens. And again, I don't wish any of this. This is just a made-up scenario. Bernie Sanders is 78. He's already had one heart attack. He passes away a few weeks before the actual vote, end of October. Well, the people on the left lose their damn minds. They accuse Trump of killing him because there were a couple of polls where he was winning, of course. They say, oh, he started to win, and we were finally winning, and Trump killed him. He had the CIA killed him. No amount of talk makes these people believe that something nefarious, and maybe there is some suspicious activity around his death for whatever reason, but, no amount of calming people will, satiate these hardcore followers. And it's evident from his VP selection, there's no way the VP is going to get elected. So almost immediately they turn not on the GOP, who they already hate. They turn on the media. They blame the media for this failure, and they start torching MSNBC and CNN. They go after They go after people. They go after places, and now these Antifa guys are attacking their own. They're literally eating their own. The GOP guys are like, well, wow, you see what we mean? And when that starts to happen, the media turns totally against the extreme left. Suddenly, everything we've heard about the extreme left in conservative media and on the internet, suddenly that all goes mainstream. All the major news stories just start covering it because at this point, they're a little pissed, right? They know Bernie's dead. He's going to lose. There's no way he can win. So they're doing the only thing they can do, which is sort of squeeze clickbait out of their audience that they've now completely betrayed. And the audience has betrayed them. And the violence just starts ticking up. Now, there's not enough people in the extreme left to organize, and they're completely disorganized. But they cause a lot of damage and mayhem. There are shootings, there are assaults. The Secret Service end up capturing more and more people who attempt to raid the White House and various places. A guy straps a bomb to himself and blows himself up in, say, in the middle of Google or Twitter headquarters or someplace like that, blaming the media outlets for this. And that causes Trump to overreact. He actually, and the media is screaming for him to do something. He does, and he overreacts. He sends in the cops on a particular protest, and they just crack heads, man. They just come in and they start arresting all these guys they didn't arrest before. Oh, they come down on them like a ton of bricks. And there's story after story about people getting hurt and killed, and college students who have never been arrested in their lives going to jail for felonies. And it becomes a complete and utter mess. Now Trump gets elected president, but that kind of darkens Trump's legacy. He didn't really want this. Why is this happening? He's a law and order guy, though. He's got to do something. He can't let this chaos rule. But the over-response hurts him. Hurts him in the polls, not that it matters anymore. Now he's got people on his side, but ironically, he's being an a-hole. And this just causes more violence. And this goes on for about 2 years. And then comes the midterms. And the Democrats attempt to use this as a platform to get back the House, which they lost big time in the last election. And they make some inroads, but quite frankly, the Democratic Party's brand has been so tarnished by this point between the violence that they mostly supported up until it got too hot for them, that the new Democratic Party, mostly led by Tulsi Gabbard, can't gain any traction. They gain very little, just in a few spots. And we realize that it's going to be a long, hard slog for the Democrats to get back into power. They're going to be a minority party for probably the next couple of decades. And Mike Pence, well, he's barely got any competition going into 2024. He's got a few aging senators to contend with, but most of them are just repeats. It's Buttigieg, Amy Klobuchar, and a couple of new faces, and Andrew Yang trying again to become president based on their weird socialist ideals, which are now so out of vogue, they have to spin away from them. Andrew Yang becomes the new Bernie Sanders, and Buttigieg and Klobuchar kind of spin the narrative away from that. Well, I really wasn't really serious when I said I was going to give Medicare for illegal aliens. I just meant if somebody was hurt, they would be able to go to the hospital, not that we were going to give them this huge health care package. So But the violence never ticks up into a war per se. It's just this sort of steady erosion of people in small groups who just, have Trump derangement syndrome so bad they finally cross the Rubicon and kind of become criminals. And eventually, by 2022, people realize that Trump will leave office because he's anxious to leave office and get back to his life and his money. Now they got to concentrate on beating Mike Pence, but the chances of them doing it are like small to none. And because that, these disillusioned people continue to be a threat over the next 4 or 5 years. So what you get is kind of a civil war that's really more of a guerrilla war, with these Antifa types. And, it never really spirals out of control, but some people get hurt and some people go to jail. So that's my take on Civil War. That's take 3 of Civil War, part 2. If you would like to hear more stories about politics, check out Wokistan, a novel available at Amazon.com at ebook, trade paperback, and Kindle Unlimited for free. Also, check out Completely Different, The Pineys, books 1, 2, and 3, also in the same locations. And I'll see you next time.